Talk about a happy Monday. Markets are higher on news that there may be a trade deal with China, and we are about to have the biggest earnings week of the season unfold. So dive into the S&P 500 stocks with me here as we look at the technical analysis on companies that are reporting their earnings Tuesday, October 28th, right? So looking one day out. If you're new here, I'm Hema Reddy. I use price action, market timing, and momentum to boost my trading and that of my tribes. So let's go ahead and dive in with the stocks that are reporting, starting with UNH out of the gate. United Health Group has been recovering from a low that has been showing some good moves higher, but most recently been kind of sideways after a recent disconnect between price and momentum. I actually think there's a good chance for UNH to continue higher so long as its RSI stays above the bull support power zone. So again, that's my RSI power zones, my favorite momentum indicator. UPS is a different story. It is not looking good. We are in a long-term downtrend and the current action is showing limited upside based on momentum. So I think that while we stay below the $90 range, there's room for UPS to get back lower from here. Now, ticker REGN, Regeneron, if you're into stocks that may be building long-term bases to build up a position for the break higher, look at it on a weekly chart for a moment, how it's been holding above those 2021 lows. And when you take this back to a daily chart, you can see that we've been forming this range between about 614 on the upside, or rather 619, and down around 470, okay? So I would keep an eye on that range. And if you see a break above those highs from May, that might be a good sign to start building a position. DHI, Dr. Horton, another big one. So this one, let's take a look on the weekly time frame. So we can see that there was a massive move lower, a recovery higher, and then another drop lower on the weekly time frame holding the bull support power zone. When we bring this back to the daily, we can see that there is an attempt to stabilize going on right now. But unless I can see this stock trade above 163, that's the lows from late September, there might be more room for downside before the party to the upside starts again. And that downside could bring us towards even 130. So PayPal, ticker PYPL, it's not got the most exciting chart, but it's a good reminder to those of you who are looking to maybe trade more narrow ranges, maybe have option strategies for that. You can absolutely locate a range, whether it's a base building like I was talking about earlier or a sideways range like this, and safely with low risk and close to the edges, trade the range. So right now we're lifting off from the 65 support, which was held for some time here. I think there's a good chance we get back to about $77 per share. So if you are, again, in the game of wanting to trade the ranges, trade things that are kind of slow and steady, this could provide an opportunity. And remember, earnings will come out tomorrow, so that may propel action. Invesco, ticker IVZ, I like this chart because we had a very quick correction lower. And when you look at it on the weekly chart, you can see there's potential up to $29.69. So this is a lower price stock. But when you look at that on the daily, it's a classic case of just working off overbought conditions, okay? So basically the uptrend was in place. It's like a marathon runner just stopping to have some water, right? From the crowd on the side, not ending the party and then resuming again. And I feel like the marathon runner's picking up to the upside again here. So definitely have some opportunity for upside and Invesco towards that $30 area. And GLW, Corning, is doing almost the exact same thing, except it's already started to break higher. So notice how on the daily chart, it just worked off overbought conditions. But in this case, it couldn't even get back to the bull support power zone. Strong markets will not come back to that lower green zone all the time, right? Because that's the whole point. They're strong. It takes less and less for them to get oversold and resume higher. So we've got a breakout now. If you aren't long already, you might want to watch for maybe a pullback towards this consolidation range, but there seems to be some nice upside potential here on Corning, and it's at new highs, it looks like. So don't have a specific target, but you can use forecasting techniques if you follow my loss forecasting to create those for yourself. Now, ticker ECL Ecolab is doing something that, again, is great for those of you who are looking at ranges and want to trade breakouts. Look at how it's trading this narrow range, okay? It's got lower highs and it's also got higher lows. And you kind of shape them, all right? I grew up in the 80s, so I think if this is like putting a scrunchie on a big bunch of wild hair, and if you get a closing break, in this case, I think it would be to the upside. That's just my hunch based on the previous trend and what I'm seeing in momentum. That would provide a nice big triangle breakout, and you could use the pattern calculations, classic triangle patterns, to see where it might go. So STX, Seagate Technologies Holdings, look at this on the daily chart. Look how beautifully it went to bull resistance, bull support, bull resistance, disconnect between price and momentum. I teach this setup in my 4 zones RSI coverage system. Pull back to bull support, and 4 zones RSI students, there's a lot going on here that suggests further upside. There's that trend continuation pattern I teach. So you might want to go in and do the math. If I roughly just eyeball it, here's what I come up with. There's room to head up towards 325 if this uptrend on Seagate can continue. Again, over time, can be undone, but that would be a minimum upside target based on the current momentum action. ENPH, this is another one of those base building setups. We've got resistance around $44, the support around 30, and if you can see that clearance above with the RSI power zones moving beyond the bear resistance zone and finally showing that turn in momentum, this could be the beginning of a position to build. Again, you have to watch them and you have to be patient, but for those of you who are building positions, this could provide an opportunity if you get that confirmation of price. PPG Industries, ticker PPG, this is a stock that has been beautifully displaying how when there's a bear dominant trend, the momentum matches. It just keeps getting pounded lower every time it's coming into that bear resistance power zone. And look, it's right up close to it now. So I think there's an opportunity for a short to emerge. Again, they're going to report earnings. There's going to be catalysts. So watch the price action. Never trade just on the momentum setup alone, right? You have to have price confirmed, but I'm bringing your attention to what may occur in that former or lower high forms here, and then we get another push lower. And last but not least, Teradyne, ticker TER, beautifully in an uptrend, gets opportunities to go and resume higher after hitting bull support. We're in the current one. Again, if this is one you have a position on, you've got some potential, probably towards the 170 area. If you're not long yet, I would wait until we clear this 150 resistance and maybe buy on a pullback. All right, that's my take for you on companies reporting Tuesday, October 28th. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button below so that I know, and it fuels me to keep making more videos like this heading into earnings reports and beyond. See you in the next video.